Hey yo, we are back with another Warhammer reaction. This time we'll be checking out a new channel called VQDO. I hope I didn't butcher it. There was a request to react to one of their videos. It's titled Mechanicum Vampire Visit Mars. As always, people, before we start, the original video is pinned down in the description. Please support the original creator. I myself honestly have no idea what to expect since this is a new channel for me. Uh, I don't want you to bore. Oh my god, I butchered everything. I will leave it in. I don't want to bore you with the intro, so let's begin. So it's probably the narrator, Graham McNeil.
It never rained on Mars. Not an
I'm sorry, this guy, this person, this man might rival the Remembrancer voice. What the hell?
anymore. Once, when Mars had first known life, back in an age long unknown to man, mighty storms had torn across the landscape, gouging channels in the rock and carving sweeping coastlines from the towering cliffs of the Great Mons. Then, the world had endured its first death, and the planet had become a cratered red wasteland of empty dust bowls and parched deserts.
Is he talking about when the heresy like reached the climax when the Horus was on Earth fighting the Emperor?
But the red planet lived to breathe again. The terraforming of Mars had begun in the earliest days of the golden age of man's expansion to the stars, bringing new life and hope. But in the end, this was a remission, not a cure. Within the span of a few centuries, the planet had died its second death, choking on the fumes of volcanic forge complexes, continent-sized refineries, and the effluent of 1 million weapon shops. It never rained on Mars. That thought was uppermost in Brother Verticorder's mind as he guided the battered bipedal form of Ares Lictor up the gentle slopes of Olympus Mons towards the colossal volcano's caldera. Resembling a brutish, mechanical humanoid some 9 meters tall.
9 meters? They're like quarks.
Ares Lictor was a paladin-class knight, a one-man war machine of
oh my god, it's the Emperor.
Deep blue armor plates, with a fearsome array of weaponry beyond the power of even the strongest of the Terran Emperor's Astartes to bear.
Oh no, it's not the Emperor.
Ares Lictor walked with an awkward, loping gait, thanks to a stubborn knee joint that no amount of ministration from the tech priests could restore to full, working order. But Verticorder handled his mount with the practiced ease of one born in the cockpit. It never rained on Mars. Except it was raining now.
What changed?
The brushed orange skies above were weeping a thin drizzle of moisture, patterning Verticorder's cockpit, and he felt the cold wetness through the hard plugs in his spine and the haptic implants in his fingers. He realized that he, too, was weeping, for he had never expected to witness such a sight. The heavens opening, and precipitation falling to the surface of the red planet. Such a thing had not happened in living memory, and on Mars, that was a long time. 2 other war machines followed Verticorder, his brothers in arms and fellow Knights of Tyrannus. He could hear their chatter over the manifold, the synaptic congress that linked their minds, but had not the words to convey his own sense of wonder at the sight that greeted them on this.
Is it when he means when they're like talk in like binary? Like I've seen they talk like that in the Mechanicum games.
Day.
That's what I imagine is happening. Those 3 are like surprised that they get to experience the rain, I guess.
Days. The sky above Olympus Mons raged. Billowing storm clouds heaved as though ancient, forgotten gods battled within them, slamming their mighty hammers against wrought iron anvils and hurling forked bolts of lightning to one another. Mars's largest moon, Phobos, was visible as a yellowed irregularity behind the clouds, its cratered surface at its closest point to the surface of Mars in decades. The mighty volcano, the largest mountain in the Tharsis region and indeed the solar system, soared above the Martian landscape.
Oh, damn. I just realized we have like the largest mountain on Mars in the solar system, so like, damn.
The dizzyingly high escarpments of its cliffs rising to almost 30 kilometers above the surface of the planet. Verticorder knew this region.
30 kilometers? Like, don't planes in like our world fly like at 10, 12? So 30 kilometers, god damn, that's big.
Of Tharsis intimately. He had marched Ares Lictor from the Fabricator General's forge and the eastern flanks of the mighty volcano 3 decades ago, and he had led his brother warriors across its slope uncounted times. More lightning flashed, and the thousands gathering at the base of the volcano gazed fearfully into the building tempest from towering habstacks and ironclad bulwarks of Kelborhal's domain. Abused skies cracked and roared, distorting under the overpressure of something unimaginably vast, and the atmospherics lit up the sky as far as any eye, fleshy or augmetic, could see. Crowds in their thousands, their tens of thousands, were following the knights up the slopes of Olympus Mons, but they had not the speed or maneuverability of the war machines. This wonder was for the Knights of Tyrannus, and for them alone. A shape moved in the clouds.
Is it the Emperor?
Verticorder halted his mount at the sheer edge of the caldera's escarpment, with a release of pressure on his right hand. The machine reacted instantly. The bond he had forged with it in years of battle was that of 2 comrades in arms, who had shared blood and victory in equal measure. Verticorder could feel the anticipation of this moment in every sizzling joint and weld within Ares Lictor, as though it, more than he, was anticipating the glory of this day. Golden light flashed above, and the drizzle of rain became a downpour. A zigzagging pathway had been cut into the cliff, leading to the base of the caldera, nearly 2 kilometers below. It was a treacherous path in ideal conditions, but in this deluge it was close to suicide.
Oh.
"What do you say, old friend?" asked Verticorder. "Shall we greet these new arrivals?" He could feel the machine straining beneath him and smiled. Easing up the power and walking the knight towards the edge of the cliff. The steps were designed for the long strides and wide treads of a knight, but were slick and reflective with rain. It was a long way down.
I mean, 2 kilometers, yeah.
Even the armor or energy shields that protected a knight in battle would save him from a fall from this height.
Oh.
Verticorder guided Ares Lictor's first step onto the cut path, and felt the slipperiness beneath its feet, as though he walked upon it himself. Each step was dangerous, and he took care to ensure that each one was taken with the utmost reverence. Step by step, inch by inch, he walked Ares Lictor down the path to the cratered plain below. Golden light suddenly burst from the clouds above, dazzling and brilliant. A bolt of scarlet lightning danced like crackling spiderwebs between the ground and sky. Verticorder almost lost his footing as he instinctively looked up. A mighty floating city of gold was descending from the heavens.
Also, I guess the Emperor brought his, how are they called, custodies with him?
Like a mountainous spire sheared from the side of some vast continental landmass, the city was studded with light and color, its dimensions enormous beyond imagining. A vast eagle-winged prow of gold marked one end of the floating city, and colossal battlements, like the highest towers of the mightiest Martian spire, rose like gnarled stalagmites from the other. Rippling engines flared with unimaginable power on the colossal edifice.
You know, I'm kind of a bit surprised how the Mechanicus have like this so much weapons, but they're like stuck on Mars. Meanwhile, the humans like lost all of their like technology, if I remember correctly, but they still got to Mars first. Does that make sense? They got to Mars first. I would expect that Mechanicus would come to Terra first after everything, you know? Maybe I'm like confusing. I think this is before the horse heresy. I was wrong. This was, but dude, the timeline is so confusing. Like now, this is where the age of strife happened. Yeah, when the AI became evil. This is where when Swanesh was birthed. It's the reason why everything happened how it is. So, but why did the Mechanicus were killing themselves and blowing themselves up on the timeline, man?
His underside, and Verticorda stood amazed at the technology required to prevent such a monstrous creation from plummeting to the ground. Flocks of smaller craft attended the larger one, its dimensions only growing larger the more it emerged from its concealing clouds. Blood of the machine, hissed Yelsik, rider of the night at his back. How can such a thing stay aloft? Concentrate on your descent, warned Verticorda. I don't want you losing your footing behind me. Understood. Verticorda returned his attention to the pathway, negotiating the last 300 meters bathed in a cold sweat. He let out a long, shuddering breath as he took his first step onto the surface of the Olympus Mons caldera, enjoying the strange new sensation of mud sucking at his feet. By the time the knights reached the base of the cliff, the enormous craft had landed, its gargantuan bulk surely offset by some dampening field to prevent it from collapsing under its own weight, or sinking deep into the Martian surface. Roiling clouds of superheated steam and condensing gases billowed outwards from the ship, and as they swept over Ares Lictor, Verticorda smelled the scents of another world. Hard radiation, the ache of homelands long forgotten, and thin, achingly cold mountain air. He told himself it was ludicrous to sense such things from a ship that had just made the fiery descent through a planet's atmosphere. Yet they were there, as plain as day. "Spread out,"
What did you see?
said Verticorda. "Flank speed." The knights loping alongside him moved into a combat spread as they strode through the hot, moist mists. Verticorda felt no threat from the unknown craft, yet decades of training and discipline would not allow him to approach it without taking precautions. At last, the mist thinned, and Verticorda pulled up as the enormous golden cliff of the vessel's flank rose up before him, like a mountain freshly deposited on the planet's surface.
Ooh.
Its scale was awe-inspiring, more so than even the fastness of the Titan legions, or the data mountains of the Temple of All Knowledge. Even the mightiest forged temple of Mondus Gamma on the Syria Planum paled in comparison to the scale of this vessel, for it had been fashioned with deliberate artifice, and not the combined force of millions of years of geological interaction. Every plate and sheet of the enormous vessel was worked with the care of a craftsman, and Verticorda struggled to think of a reason why so...
I actually never thought about it. Like everyone in Warhammer universe, well, the Primarchs have like their ship, like Horus was like the vengeful spirit, I believe, or something like that. What ship did the Emperor have?
Many would labor for so long, and with such devotion, to ornament a vessel designed for travel between the stars. The answer came a moment after the question. This was no ordinary vessel. This was a craft built with love, a craft built for a being beloved by all. No ordinary man could inspire such devotion, and Verticorda suddenly felt an overwhelming fear that he was in the presence of something far greater and far more terrifying than he could ever have imagined.
He felt my presence.
A shrieking blast of steam vented from the ship, and a colossal hatchway was limned in a golden light. Huge pneumatic pistons, larger than a Titan, slowly lowered a long ramp, easily wide enough for a regiment of Gene-balked Scutari to march down in line abreast.
So, just the way he paints, like, the picture, I just imagine the ship is, like, probably, like, take a biggest city in the world, multiplied by 10, that's the ship size.
The ramp lowered with no sign of strain on the vessel, and the brightness within poured out, bathing the Martian landscape in a warm, welcome glow. Verticorda twisted Ares' lictor around on its central axis, and felt a shiver travel down the length of his spine as he saw the entire rim of the volcano's crater lined with onlookers. With a thought, he increased the magnification through the view screen and saw thousands of robed adepts, menials, tech priests, logi, and workers gathered to watch the event unfolding below. Crackling voltaic viewing clouds colored the sky behind the crowds, and flocks of servo skulls buzzed overhead, though none dared approach within the swirling electromagnetic field that surrounded the craft. The huge ramp crunched down, and Verticorda squinted into the light that blazed from within.
Oh.
A silhouette moved within the light, tall and powerful, glorious and magnificent. The light seemed to move with him, and as Verticorda watched the figure descend the ramp, a shadow fell across the surface of the plane on which the craft had landed.
Sometimes I imagine the Emperor is just a big light bulb.
Though he was loath to tear his gaze from the magnificent figure, Verticorda looked up to see a convex ellipse of darkness bite into the glowing outline of the sun. The light from the storm-racked skies faded, until only illumination came from the figure as he stepped onto Martian soil for the first time. Verticorda knew immediately that the man was a warrior, for there could be no doubt that this sublime figure had been made mighty by battle. Verticorda felt the collective gasp from the thousands of spectators in his bones, as though the very planet shuddered with pleasure to know this individual's touch. He looked back down and saw the warrior standing before him, tall and clad in golden armor, each plate wrought with the same skill and love as had been lavished upon the vessel. The warrior wore no helm, and was fitted with no visible breathing augmetics.
Yeah, this was also very curious. Well, I guess Emperor is like a god. He probably doesn't even need a helmet, but I always thought, like, there is air on Terra, there is, like, no air on Mars for humans to breathe, but I guess Emperor is different. But yeah.
Yet seemed untroubled by the chemical-laden air of Mars.
Oh, he's, like, even immune to, like, the chemicals, I guess.
Verticorda found his gaze dwelling on the warrior's face, beautiful and perfect, as though able to see beyond the armored exterior of Ares' lictor and into Verticorda's soul. In his eyes, his so very ancient eyes, Verticorda saw the wisdom of all the ages and the burden of all the knowledge contained within them. A crimson mantle flapped in the wind behind the giant warrior, and he carried an eagle-topped scepter, clutched in one mighty gauntlet. The golden giant's eyes scrutinized the blue armored form of Verticorda's mount, from its conical glasses to the aventailed shoulder plates upon which the wheel and lightning bolt symbol of the Knights of Tyrannus was emblazoned. The warrior reached out towards him.
Your machine is damaged. Tamon Verticorder,
he said, his voice heavy and yet musical, like the most perfect sound imaginable.
May I?
Verticorder found himself unable to form a reply,
No.
knowing that anything he might say would be trite in the face of such perfection. It didn't occur to him to wonder how the sublime warrior knew his name. Without waiting for a reply,
Honestly, if someone knew my name and I wouldn't know the person, I would be just stunlocked. It happened once to me when someone knew me and I was like, how, wow, what do I do? I guess this guy was also like scared, and I mean, it's the Emperor, like, I think he felt his aura, like, just, bro.
the warrior reached out, and Verticorder felt his touch upon the joints of Ares Lictor's knee.
Machine, heal thyself,
said the warrior, the purpose and self-belief in his voice passing into Verticorder.
I'm sorry, wait, I have to check this. Did he flashbang me? I'm sorry, I'm taking like 20 seconds back.
His name. Without waiting for a reply, the warrior reached out, and Verticorder felt his touch upon the joints of Ares Lictor's knee.
machine, heal thyself.
He did, why? Dude, this stunlocked me. I was like, am I seeing things? Hell no, he stunlocked me.
Said the warrior, the purpose and self-belief in his voice passing into Verticorder as though infusing every molecule of his hybrid existence of flesh and steel with newfound purpose and vitality. He felt the warmth of the warrior's touch through the shell of his mount, and gasped as trembling vibrations spread through its armored frame of plasteel and ceramite. He took an involuntary step back, feeling the movements of his mount flow as smoothly as ever they had. With one step, he could feel Ares Lictor move as though it had just come off the assembly lines,
Oh,
its stubborn knee joint flexing like new. "Who are you?" he gasped, his voice sounding grating and pathetic next to the mighty timbre of the Golden Warrior's voice.
I am the Emperor,
said the warrior. It was a simple answer, yet the weight of history and the potential of a glorious future were carried in every syllable. Knowing he would never again hear words spoken with such meaning.
why? You can just ask him, repeat it.
Verticorder and Ares Lictor dropped to one knee,
Oh,
performing the maneuver with a grace that would have been impossible before the Emperor's touch. In that moment, Tamon Verticorder knew the truth of the being standing before him. "Welcome to Mars, my lord," he said. "All praise to the Omnisire."
wow. Wow. Oh, so DQ stands for Daniel Quinton. Voiceover, I guess means, yeah? To a person who recommended me this video, thank you. I really enjoyed it. The video is insane. Though, not gonna lie, I didn't expect... Sorry, voice crack. I didn't expect them to accept the Emperor so fast. Just basically by fixing one guy, he earned the trust of everyone. I expected, I don't know, I thought that Mechanicus wouldn't really, want to accept him that fast. But I guess I was wrong. Because they accepted him as open arms, I guess. Maybe because he healed that guy with just one touch, they thought he... Well, I know that they think that the Emperor is the Omnissiah, but damn. Like, I feel like this is gonna sound crazy. I feel like the build-up was like so crazy, and just the ending part of them the Mechanicus accepting the Emperor was like so anticlimactic. Is it just me? Am I weird for like thinking this? I'm sure like there's probably more that happened. He didn't gain their trust like in like that fast, but I don't know. I It's like I got to experience something, and halfway I was left alone. Like, I don't know how to describe this feeling. This is weird, but I really enjoyed it. Um, yeah. If Now I'm just stun walking myself. I hope if you watched, you understood what I meant. I'm sorry. I have no idea how to describe it. Yeah, to as always, original video is pinned down in the description. Please support the original creator, support Daniel. If you enjoyed my reaction, you can support me as well by leaving a like. If you want to see more, you can comment on my video what you want me to react to. Best way to do it is just comment the channel name and the video title, and I'll add it to my request playlist. And yeah. I'm trying to do now one video a week. So every Monday, a video. Yeah. Ciao, Cacao.